The AFK farming software, I became invincible without knowing it. Chapter 331, Heavenly Cycle Sword Formation, First Battle against Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. The Earth Fiend 72 techniques had been cultivated for 500 years under the enhancement of 100 trillion times. Then, under the enhancement of 10 trillion times, it had been cultivated for more than 100 years. Now, the Earth Fiend 72 techniques had already been raised from the entry level to the perfection realm. Among them, it had crossed the small success realm and the large success realm. Qi Ming could not fuse the Earth Fiend 72 techniques into the 10th Great Dao Immortal Aperture because he had not reached the profound realm. He could only take a step back and choose the Clear Sky True Fire Divine Power. He fused it into the 10th Great Dao Immortal Aperture and condensed the 10th Great Dao Supreme. Qi Ming circulated the Dharmic powers around his body. The Divine Power Talisman evolved from the Clear Sky True Fire Divine Power was a ball of light that was as dazzling as the crimson sun. It was also slowly flowing like a vortex and was quite profound. A day later, the 10th Great Dao Immortal Aperture was completely established, and the 10th Great Dao Supremacy had also evolved to perfection. Qi Ming's strength had increased, but it was not very obvious. Not bad. Qi Ming nodded. From the Mystic Immortal Realm, one had to cross the Grand Unity Mystic Immortal Realm and Golden Immortal Realm to the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm. They had to establish a total of 129,600 immortal apertures. According to the speed at which Qi Ming opened an Great Dao Immortal Aperture every 100 years, excluding the 9 Great Dao Immortal Apertures that he had opened when he broke through to the early stage Mystic Immortal Realm, Qi Ming needed a total of 12.96 million years to completely establish 129,600 Great Dao Immortal Apertures. The duration was very long. If he added the corresponding amplification state, the time to break through was even longer. This was the difficulty of cultivating the Great Dao. When the 9 apertures are combined and my cultivation breaks through, I can step into the early stage Mystic Immortal Realm. Qi Ming pondered for a moment. If I want to break through from the early stage Mystic Immortal Realm to the mid-stage Mystic Immortal Realm, I need to establish 11,781 Great Dao Immortal Apertures. I've already established one. There are 11,780 left. This way. According to the speed of opening a Great Dao Immortal Aperture every 100 years, I need a total of 1,178,000 years. Only then can I break through to the mid-stage Mystic Immortal Realm. The duration is long. In the following years, Qi Ming had always stayed in the City Lord Manor of the ancient Immortal City. Moreover, he basically cultivated in the City Lord Manor and cultivated in seclusion. His cultivation level was also steadily rising. In addition, in the territory of the ancient Immortal City, although the strength of the 4 first-rate powers, the ancient Immortal Sect, the Silver-Winged Yaksha race, the Feng clan, and the Purple Mansion sect, had increased by a level because of Qi Ming, there was no conflict because of this. Instead, it became more and more stable and calm, and there was no conflict anymore. In the blink of an eye, another year later. On this day, above the City Lord Manor, 2 figures stood. Junior Min He greets Senior. The City Lord of the ancient Immortal City stood in front of Qi Ming. He bowed respectfully and said respectfully, "Senior suddenly called me over. Please instruct me." Qi Ming nodded slightly and sized up the City Lord of the ancient Immortal City. Among the 8 Zenith Heavens of the ancient Immortal City, this City Lord Min He was actually the strongest. "Attack me." This Min He was stunned. He did not understand and could not react. His face was a little pale. Senior, is there anything wrong with me? Or is there something wrong with my hospitality? Why? With my insignificant cultivation, how can I dare to show off in front of Senior? Min He did not dare to attack Qi Ming. In fact, he felt that he had offended Qi Ming. Qi Ming wanted to test his strength through Min He, who was already at the late-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm. "I told you to attack." Qi Ming's gaze darkened as he said coldly, "Cut the crap." "Yes." Min He jolted and did not dare to say anything else. He took a deep breath and quickly adjusted his state. His dharmic powers surged and transformed into a purple-gold lightning bolt that roared like a lightning dragon as it charged at Qi Ming. Lightning Dragon Technique. Min He pushed forward with both hands and threw out a palm. Qi Ming did not move. He clasped his hands behind his back and golden light flashed around his body. He had already used the purity golden body and was invincible. The lifelike lightning dragon collided with Qi Ming's body but dissipated completely. The power contained in it dissipated and dissolved into nothingness, unable to injure him at all. This. Min He was stunned again. It's actually useless. Is this your full strength? Qi Ming's expression was a little ugly. Or do you think I can't block your attack? If that's the case, you're too disappointing. I don't dare. Min He jolted again and focused his attention. He abandoned the unease in his heart, and his aura condensed as the energy of the laws appeared. Not long after, Min He opened his eyes again. He had already completely recovered his calm. His mind was calm as he looked at Qi Ming and bowed. "Senior." Min He said, "Next, I'll do my best." He raised his head, and his gaze was like a bolt of lightning. He waved his right hand, and his intrinsic immortal treasure appeared on his body. It was the 108 immortal swords. This was the heavenly cycle sword formation. In the upper world, the grade of an intrinsic immortal treasure increased with the increase in cultivation. It was divided into the grades according to the level of one's cultivation. They were: Immortal Realm Intrinsic Immortal Treasure, True Immortal Realm Intrinsic Immortal Treasure, Mystic Immortal Realm Intrinsic Immortal Treasure, Grand Unity Mystic Immortal Realm Intrinsic Immortal Treasure, Golden Immortal Realm Intrinsic Immortal Treasure, Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm Intrinsic Immortal Treasure, and Upper World Immortal King Treasure. Every major grade was divided into 4 small grades: low, medium, high, and extreme. According to the difference in cultivation levels, in the same realm, the power of an intrinsic immortal treasure was also very different. Above the Upper World Immortal King artifact was the Upper World Treasure. For example, the Space-Time Treasure, World Gate was the Upper World Treasure. Above the Upper World Treasure was the Heavenly Dao Treasure. For now, back when Qi Ming cultivated the Chaos Green Lotus Sword scripture, he had refined 3 intrinsic treasures, which were the Chaos Green Lotus Sword Embryo, the World-Piercing Sword, and the Sword Mountain. Now, Qi Ming was no longer at his original cultivation realm. Instead, he was at the early stage Mystic Immortal Realm. He comprehended the Great Dao of Heaven and Earth and cultivated the Chaos Great Dao scripture. The 3 intrinsic treasures completed the transformation. The Chaos Green Lotus Sword Embryo completely blossomed and fused with the Heaven and Earth Great Dao. It advanced to the Chaos Great Dao Sword Lotus and opened the 24th grade Chaos Great Dao Sword Lotus Petal. The world-piercing sword had completed its sublimation. It had also fused with the Great Dao of Heaven and Earth and advanced to the Chaos World-Piercing Sword. It could open the chaos and suppress all things. The Sword Mountain had also completed an unprecedented sublimation. After fusing with the Great Dao of Heaven and Earth, it successfully advanced to the Chaos Buzhu Mountain. It suppressed the chaos and evolved the Great Dao. At the same time, Qi Ming's 3 intrinsic immortal treasures could still be fused. They transformed into the Chaos Great Axe. In addition, during this period of time, Qi Ming took out a large number of precious materials from his inventory and refined them all. He fused the true intent of the Heaven and Earth Great Dao and had already raised all 3 intrinsic immortal treasures to the level of top-grade Mystic Immortal Realm intrinsic immortal treasures. Sword Qi River. Min He pointed. Sword Qi surged. The 108 Heavenly Dao sword flew out. Countless sword Qi blossomed and surged, forming a vast river of sword Qi. It was like a true dragon circling as it attacked Qi Ming. There were 108 heavenly immortal swords here, but they were actually an intrinsic immortal treasure. This intrinsic immortal treasure was called the Heavenly Cycle Sword Formation. Min He's intrinsic immortal treasure had already been refined to the level of a top-grade Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Treasure. Although Qi Ming's intrinsic immortal treasure was only a top-grade Mystic Immortal Realm intrinsic immortal treasure, because of the difference in cultivation level, Qi Ming cultivated the Great Dao and far exceeded Min He's cultivation of the laws. Qi Ming's intrinsic immortal treasure had fused with the power of the Heaven and Earth Great Dao. Although its grade was far inferior to Min He's Heavenly Cycle Sword Formation, its power was extraordinary and was enough to resist Min He's Heavenly Cycle Sword Formation. Good timing. Qi Ming drew his sword finger with his right hand and pointed forward. The Chaos World-piercing sword rushed out and tore through the sky like a chaotic sword light, easily defeating the Min He Sword Qi River. Heavenly Cycle Sword Shield. Min He was shocked. He used the Heavenly Cycle Sword Formation to transform into a sword shield that barely blocked Qi Ming's Chaos World-piercing sword. Cracks appeared on the sword shield. What a powerful strike! Min He was extremely shocked. You defeated my Heavenly Cycle Sword Shield so easily. Sword Lotus. Qi Ming raised his left hand. In his left palm, a 24th grade Chaos Sword Lotus floated. It was suffused with wisps of Chaos Light Fog, and every wisp of Chaos Light Fog was actually the Chaos Sword Qi. Open! Qi Ming shouted softly. The Chaos Great Dao Sword Lotus flew out and soared into the sky. It floated above Min He's head and dropped Dao Light Fog. These light fog were wisps of the powerful Chaos Sword Qi. Oh no! Min He was shocked. Heavenly Cycle Sword Formation. Activate! He roared and activated the power of the Heavenly Cycle Sword Formation to the limit. The 108 Heavenly Immortal Swords flew out and landed in the surroundings, forming the Sword Formation. Countless sword lights danced like stars flickering in the sky, blocking Qi Ming's Chaos Great Dao Sword Lotus. Qi Ming's attack had just begun. Chaos Buzhu Mountain. Qi Ming opened his mouth and spat out. The Chaos Buzhu Mountain flew out and swelled with the wind. It constantly enlarged. Chaos fog spread out as the terrifying Buzhu Mountain was like a pillar that held up the sky as it suppressed over. This Min He looked terrified as he shouted, "No!" Crack! Crack! The Chaos Buzhu Mountain pressed down and directly suppressed the Heavenly Cycle Sword Formation. The extremely terrifying pressure and power shattered the Heavenly Cycle Sword Formation. Cracks spread. There was a loud sound. Min He screamed and spat out blood. His intrinsic immortal treasure was injured, and he was also injured. The Heavenly Cycle Sword Formation collapsed, and the Heavenly Immortal Swords was sent flying together with Min He. Chapter 332, 9 Provinces Limitless Technique, Mission. Qi Ming frowned. In the battle just now, the two of them had exchanged a few moves, but in just these few moves, he had defeated the late-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, Min He. Is this the strength of a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal? Qi Ming slowly took a deep breath, or did I overestimate the strength of a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal in the past? I indeed didn't expect that this strength is really too weak. He did not use his true strength at all. He did not even use the great divine powers. He only used his intrinsic immortal treasure to fight the enemy before Min He was defeated. Cough cough. Min He coughed up blood and stabilized his figure. He raised his head slightly and waved his right hand. The 108 Heavenly Cycle Immortal Swords flew back to his surroundings. Tiny cracks had already appeared on the immortal swords. They required a lot of time and many precious materials to repair. Senior's strength is unfathomable. I'm ashamed of my inferiority. Min He stabilized his injuries and bowed to Qi Ming. I don't dare to fight Senior anymore. Compared to Senior, my cultivation and strength are as weak as an ant. Cut the crap. Qi Ming said in a low voice, immediately use your divine power. If your strength doesn't satisfy me, today will be the day you die. This Min He was shocked. Senior. Qi Ming's gaze was cold. Gulp. Min He swallowed his saliva and his body turned cold. He understood that senior heaven enlightenment was serious. To be honest, he was very confused and did not understand why senior heaven enlightenment wanted to find trouble with him. During this period of time, Minhe treated Qi Ming very well without any flaws. It was even to the extent that later on, he let Qi Ming stay in the city lord manor. Minhe did not dare to refute anything. Facing Qi Ming's request, he could only do everything. Minhe took a deep breath and pondered in his heart, I think senior heaven enlightenment doesn't want to kill me. If senior heaven enlightenment really wants to kill me, there's no need to waste so much effort. I can directly attack and suppress him. So, does senior heaven enlightenment really want to test my true strength? Could there be another meaning? Or is there an opportunity waiting for me? Thinking of this, Minhe imagined many things. Yes. Minhe bowed again. Attack! He roared and waved his hands. Dharmic powers circulated and laws followed. He transformed into divine power spells and formed runes that filled the sky and transformed into 9 terrifying ferocious beasts. Ferocious beast technique. Roar! 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 The 9 terrifying ferocious beasts roared and roared repeatedly. Baleful qi surged into the sky, and dark clouds covered the sky as they surrounded Qi Ming. Qi Ming's expression changed, and he directly used the Great Calamity technique. The Supreme Dao formed by the Great Calamity technique appeared and stood behind Qi Ming. The power of calamity erupted, destroying everything and obliterating everything. It transformed into invisible fluctuations that spread and enveloped the 9 terrifying ferocious beasts. In an instant, they were all destroyed by the power of the Great Calamity technique. Gasp! Minhe gasped, this is the great divine power. This Minhe was very terrified. Your strength really disappoints me. Qi Ming said again. His right palm landed and he shouted softly, Great Calamity Palm. Qi Ming's palm landed, and dharmic powers condensed. The power of the Great Calamity technique gathered. Coupled with the power of the heaven and earth Great Dao and the dharmic powers of the Great Dao Immortal Aperture, in an instant, a huge pale white hand seal appeared. It enveloped Minhe. Senior! Minhe exclaimed, Clear sky true fire divine power, heaven and earth 9 transformations divine power. Minhe was shocked and terrified. He mobilized all the strength in his body and opened all 129,600 law immortal apertures. Vast power of law surged as he used divine powers one after another. All kinds of explosions sounded. Minhe spat out blood repeatedly. His lesser divine power could not withstand a single blow from Qi Ming. Even if Minhe had a late-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Cultivation, he was still not Qi Ming's match. This was the difference in cultivation quality, the difference between cultivating the Great Dao and cultivating the laws. Great divine power. At this critical moment, Minhe almost felt death approaching. His entire body was trembling. At the last moment, he shouted loudly, 9 provinces limitless technique. Minhe roared into the sky as his dharmic powers erupted. Laws gathered and he used the great divine power he had grasped. It was called the 9 provinces limitless technique. This was a great divine power that came from the 9 provinces immortal dynasty. Back then, after Minhe's cultivation broke through and became a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, he was arranged to go to the ancient immortal city and become the city lord. It had been tens of millions of years. The 9 provinces limitless technique was the reward Minhe had obtained after reaching the early stage Golden Immortal realm. He had chosen this great divine power. Minhe had already cultivated for a long time. It had indeed been tens of millions of years. He had only cultivated the 9 provinces limitless technique to the small success realm. After reaching the small success realm, it was difficult for him to advance any more. Qi Ming was different. Apart from the Supreme Karma technique and the Earth Fiend 72 techniques, he had almost cultivated all his divine powers to the highest level of profundity. At this moment, Qi Ming finally felt the pressure from Minhe. He raised his head slightly and saw that above Minhe, the scene of the 9 provinces had appeared with the power of the great divine power. The 9 provinces evolved, the scene changing. Not long after, it formed the 9 provinces heaven and earth array. It sealed Qi-Ming in the center. Senior. Min-He took a deep breath, his gaze burning as his fighting spirit was high. He said loudly, I know that my strength is low and my cultivation is too shallow. Compared to Senior, I'm like a firefly compared to the bright moon. But I've cultivated this great divine power for tens of millions of years and have already reached the small success realm. Senior, you have to be careful. Attack! Shouts of killing sounded. Min-He's hands landed, and the power of the 9 provinces' immeasurable technique erupted, evolving the 9 provinces heaven and earth array. The power of the array formation trapped Qi-Ming, and countless lights fell. Ha ha ha! Qi-Ming roared with laughter. He was in a good mood. This is the strength a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal should have. Heavenly Constellation 36 Techniques. Qi-Ming roared. At this moment, the true power of the Heavenly Constellation 36 Techniques was displayed. In the past, when he faced enemies, he would use the mystic techniques and divine powers of the Heavenly Constellation 36 Techniques separately. Now, Qi-Ming combined all the mystic techniques and divine powers of the Heavenly Constellation 36 Techniques and released them at the same time. The mystic techniques and divine powers formed a connection. Come! Qi-Ming waved his hands, and his gaze flickered. The great Dao followed as his divine power evolved, law creation, overturn yin-yang, shifting stars, heavenly observation. It was obvious. He indeed used mystic techniques and divine powers one after another. Every time he used a mystic technique, the power contained in it transformed into an extremely dazzling star above his head, Nailhead 7 arrows. Qi-Ming used the last mystic technique, divine power technique. The Nailhead 7 arrows book in Qi-Ming's body flew out and fused into the sky above his head, turning into the 36th star that flickered with light. Heavenly Constellation Array. Qi-Ming shouted in a low voice. The power of the Heavenly Constellation 36 techniques erupted. The 36 shining stars in the sky slowly revolved and combined to form an extremely powerful Heavenly Constellation Array. Break! At this moment, the Heavenly Constellation Array formed by Qi-Ming's Heavenly Constellation 36 techniques collided with the 9 provinces Heaven and Earth Array formed by the 9 provinces Limitless technique. All kinds of explosions sounded. The 2 array formations collided. The dazzling light formed by the explosion flickered continuously, shaking heaven and earth in all directions, causing fine cracks to appear in the space around the battlefield. Qi-Ming's Heavenly Constellation Array was clearly stronger and more perfect. There were no flaws. Coupled with the fact that he controlled it with the power of the Heaven and Earth Great Dao, its power was even stronger. Min-He let out a miserable cry and spat out blood again. His entire body was trembling. The 9 provinces Heaven and Earth Array that he had formed with the 9 provinces Limitless technique clearly had many flaws. This was because Min-He had only cultivated the 9 provinces Boundless technique to the small success realm. It naturally had many flaws. Crack! Crack! All kinds of cracking sounds sounded. Seeing that the 9 provinces Heaven and Earth Array was about to collapse, Min-He revealed a look of despair. His entire body trembled as the shadow of death enveloped him. Senior! Min-He opened his mouth and wanted to beg for mercy. Collect! Qi-Ming raised his right hand and restrained his strength. He removed the power of the Heavenly Constellation 36 techniques and the Heavenly Constellation Array instantly dissipated. The 9 provinces Heaven and Earth Array dissipated on the spot. Min-He spat out blood again. Not bad. Qi-Ming clasped his hands behind his back and looked down at Min-He. He said indifferently, I'm quite satisfied with the power you erupted with in the end. Thank you, Senior. Min-He bowed. Min-He. Qi-Ming said, with your current strength, you're barely qualified to accept the mission I give you. Help me find an upper world cultivation method at the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm. Every time you find an upper world cultivation method at the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm, I'll preach the Dao to you. Minhe looked up, surprised and delighted. Yes. Minhe did not have any complaints and was even extremely happy in his heart. He did not expect to actually have such a benefit. As long as he found an upper world cultivation method at the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm, he could hear Senior Heaven Enlightenment preach. This was a great thing. Go. Qiming waved his hand. Minhe turned around and left. In the following period of time, Qiming continued to cultivate in seclusion. 100 years later, Qiming received the notification from the AFK farming software. He opened the 10th Great Dao Immortal Aperture and cultivated the Earth Fiend 72 techniques to the highest profound realm. Chapter 333, Leaving the Ancient Immortal City 100,000 years later. Great Dao Immortal Aperture, open. Qiming sat cross-legged and shouted softly. The cultivation method of the Chaos Great Dao Scripture, the Mystic Immortal Scripture of the Immortal Realm chapter circulated. Dharmic powers circulated throughout his body, and the Dao runes of the Heaven and Earth Great Dao transformed into Great Dao runes. They were like butterflies that fluttered around Qiming. They were quite gorgeous and had a different kind of beauty. In the blink of an eye, Qiming opened the 11th Great Dao Immortal Aperture and evolved his inner world. His dharmic powers surged and were endless, mobilizing the power of the Earth Fiend 72 techniques. Merge. Qiming formed hand seals and fused the power of the Earth Fiend 72 techniques into the 11th Great Dao Immortal Aperture, condensing it into the Great Dao Supremacy. The Earthly Fiend evolved and contained heaven and earth. Not long after, the 11th Great Dao Immortal Aperture was already perfected. Qiming nodded in satisfaction. The Great Dao Supremacy formed by the Heavenly Constellation 36 techniques and the Earth Fiend 72 techniques rushed out of the Great Dao Immortal Aperture and stood on Qiming's left and right. At this moment, the two great divine powers sensed each other. Qiming also sensed it. Deduction system. With a thought, Qiming said, I'll charge 1 billion medium-grade immortal crystals and deduce the Heavenly Constellation 36 techniques and the Earth Fiend 72 techniques. Ding! The Heavenly Constellation 36 techniques and the Earth Fiend 72 techniques are being deduced under the enhancement of 100 trillion times. A notification appeared. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, another 1,000 years passed. First, in 1,000 years, Qiming opened 10 more Great Dao Immortal Apertures in succession, opening a total of 21 Great Dao Immortal Apertures. He was still far from breaking through to the mid-stage Mystic Immortal Realm. Qiming's immortal pets had grown greatly. Ding! Congratulations, host! Your elite immortal pet, Huo Chongqing, has grown for more than 1,000 years under the enhancement of 100 trillion times. Its cultivation and strength have increased, and it has successfully established 94,257 Law Immortal Apertures. It has reached the late-stage Golden Immortal Realm and has already grown to the limit of its current potential. Ding! Congratulations, host! Your elite immortal pet, Little Yin, has grown for more than 1,000 years under the enhancement of 100 trillion times. Its cultivation and strength have increased, and it has successfully established 94,257 Law Immortal Apertures. It has reached the late-stage Golden Immortal Realm and has already grown to the limit of its current potential. 6 notifications appeared. Apart from the Demon Buddha Red Dust, Huo Chongqing, Black Flame, Little Calamity, Little Yin, Little Bat, Death God, and Qiming's 6 immortal pets had all grown to the late-stage Golden Immortal Realm. They cultivated the heaven and earth laws and grasped considerable strength. Not bad. Qiming nodded in satisfaction. Ding! Congratulations, host! Your rare immortal pet, Red Dust, has grown for 1,000 years under the enhancement of 100 trillion times. Its cultivation and strength have increased and it has successfully established 17,819 Rule Immortal Apertures. Its cultivation level has successfully broken through to the mid-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal realm. Another notification appeared. Qi Ming pondered for a moment. The demon Buddha red dust comprehended the heaven and earth rules and is even stronger. It used 1,000 years to grow to the mid-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal realm. Ding! Congratulations, host! The heavenly constellation 36 techniques and the earthly fiend 72 techniques have been deduced for 1,000 years under the enhancement of 100 trillion times. It has successfully fused the profundities of the two great divine powers and used these two great divine powers as the foundation to deduce a supreme divine power. Myriad techniques returned to 1. A notification appeared. Qi Ming revealed a look of joy and pondered for a moment. After AFK farming for 1,000 years, I've finally deduced the myriad techniques returned to 1. I'll immediately receive this supreme divine power technique. Qi Ming's entire body shook. He closed his eyes and entered a state of enlightenment. In his mind, billions of words appeared, as well as a large number of information and divine power mysteries. Human to earth, earth to heaven, heaven to Dao, Dao to nature. Dao begets 1, 1 begets 2, 2 begets 3, and all techniques become 1. Qi Ming constantly comprehended and understood. He grasped the mysteries within and comprehended heaven and earth. He sensed the power of the supreme divine power technique and various phenomena appeared around Qi Ming. All kinds of divine power phenomena appeared around Qi Ming, and these phenomena were resolved by a mysterious force. Myriad techniques returned to 1. This was a supreme divine power technique. Its power was powerful and surpassed the great divine power. It was comparable to the supreme karma technique that Qi Ming currently grasped. If he truly mastered the myriad techniques returned to 1, Qi Ming could resolve many divine power techniques in the various worlds and even rob the enemies of their divine power techniques. It was extremely domineering. Good, good, good. Qi Ming's smile widened. He was indeed in a very good mood. I'll charge 1 billion medium-grade immortal crystals and practice the myriad techniques returned to 1. Ding! Charging successful. Cultivating the myriad techniques returned to 1 supreme divine power under the enhancement of 100 trillion times. Another notification appeared. A year later. Senior. Min He came to visit. Come in. Yes. Min He walked into the manor and arrived at the entrance of Qi Ming's cave abode. He bowed and said, Senior, I obtained another upper world cultivation method at the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal realm this time and specially came to offer it. Not bad. Qi Ming nodded slightly. Then, Min He handed over the cultivation method. The cultivation method inheritance jade slip was like a stream of light as it flew into Qi Ming's cave abode and landed in his hand. Qi Ming flipped through it and confirmed that there was no mistake. He put away this cultivation method. In the past 1,000 years, you have offered 9 upper world cultivation methods at the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal realm. Coupled with this time, there are already 10. I've taught the Dao 9 times. Did you obtain anything? Min He lowered his head. He was already becoming more and more respectful. I'm slow-witted. I've listened to seniors' teachings and sermons many times, but I've never been able to comprehend the heaven and earth rules. As Qi Ming preached to Min He time and time again, his comprehension of heaven and earth became deeper. He had a chance to comprehend the heaven and earth rules. At the same time, it was also because Min He's comprehension was deeper that he understood how unfathomable senior heaven enlightenment was. The more he knew, the more terrifying he felt. Min He had a faint guess. Back then, something happened in the Qilian mountain range, causing a vast phenomenon. It was suspected that a Dao cultivator had appeared, but in the end, they did not investigate anything and could only leave the matter unsettled. Now, through contact with Qi Ming time and time again, Min He listened to him preach the Dao again and again. His cultivation was extremely profound, as unfathomable as the abyss. Min He suspected that senior heaven enlightenment was a Dao cultivator. He did not have the intention to inform the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. Instead, he wanted to continue staying by Qi Ming's side and listen to his teachings. This was the only way. Only then would Min He have a chance to take another step forward. No rush, no rush. Qi Ming said, there will be a day when you comprehend the heaven and earth rules. Yes. Min He said. The Dao that can be told is not the eternal Dao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. Qi Ming began to lecture again. Only Min He could hear him. He sat cross-legged and carefully comprehended, falling into a state of Dao enlightenment. In the blink of an eye, 10,000 years passed. First, in 10,000 years, Qi Ming had established a total of 100 great Dao immortal apertures and learned 100 lesser divine techniques. He had fused all 100 lesser divine techniques and evolved them into 100 great Dao supremacies. Qi Ming's current strength had increased greatly. Every additional great Dao immortal aperture he opened made his strength advance a little, far exceeding when he had just broken through to the early stage mystic immortal realm. Ding! Congratulations, host! The supreme karma technique has been cultivated for more than 10,000 years in the enhancement state of 100 trillion times. It has comprehended the karma of the heavens and condensed the karma lotus embryo, evolving countless karma Buddha worlds and reaching the large success realm. A notification appeared. This is... Qi Ming was overjoyed, the supreme karma technique has broken through. Condense. Qi Ming sat cross-legged. In his mind, trillions of words instantly appeared. They were all profound truths about the supreme karma technique. They were indescribably profound. Not long after, above Qi Ming, countless karma runes appeared and gathered, turning into a karma lotus embryo. It emitted a dazzling golden light that was endless and dazzling, illuminating the heavens. The karma lotus embryo had been formed. The supreme karma technique had also reached the large success realm. A smile appeared on Qi Ming's face. Ding! Congratulations, host! The myriad techniques returned to one has been cultivated for more than 10,000 years under the enhancement of 100 trillion times. You have comprehended heaven and earth and created something from nothing. Your Dao technique is natural, and all techniques are combined to reach the small success realm. A notification appeared. Myriad techniques returned to one. With a thought, trillions of words appeared in Qi Ming's mind again. They evolved the profundity and true intent of myriad techniques returned to one and gradually grasped the power of the divine power. Not long after, Qi Ming had grasped the myriad techniques returned to one. Unknowingly, another 100,000 years passed. In addition, 1,000 years ago, Qi Ming left the ancient immortal city. At the beginning, he could endure the loneliness, but as more than 100,000 years passed, Qi Ming felt that the cultivation that could bring joy had become boring. He chose to leave the ancient immortal city. Min He came to send him off. Goodbye, senior. Min He bowed. Apart from Min He, the ancient immortal Zenith Heaven and the others also came to send him off. Qi Ming nodded slightly and did not show much reluctance. In that case, we'll meet again. Yes. Min He and the others said. Traceless flight. Qi Ming took a step forward and used his divine power. He entered the space and disappeared as if he was teleporting. In a very short period of time, he left the range of the ancient immortal city. He no longer planned to stay in the same place to cultivate. Instead, he prepared to travel the upper world. His first stop was to travel the entire 9 provinces domain. Qi Ming was already free and unrestrained. He was not restricted by anything at all. With his current strength, unless an immortal king from the upper world came, it was impossible to stop him. Even against the upper world immortal kings, Qi Ming was not completely powerless. Chapter 334, Eastern Victory Divine Province, Pursuit. In the past 10,000 years, Qi Ming had already passed the Buddhist Chaos Game dungeon 3 to 4 million times. He had obtained countless items from it. It included spells, divine powers, immortal treasures, demonic treasures, servants, and a vast number of immortal crystals. Apart from that, Qi Ming obtained various inheritance crystals and bloodline crystals in the Immortal Realm game dungeon, Buddhist Chaos. After Qi Ming's 6 immortal pets absorbed and fused these inheritance crystals and bloodline crystals, this allowed them to obtain another comprehensive advancement. Huo Chongqing advanced to become a rare immortal pet, Zenith Heaven Sword Saint. The Death God advanced to become a rare immortal pet, Zenith Heaven Death God. Little Calamity advanced to a rare immortal pet, Zenith Heaven Calamity. Little Yin advanced to a rare immortal pet, Zenith Heaven Yin Maiden. Little Bat advanced to a rare immortal pet, Zenith Heaven Taiji Immortal Bat, and Black Flame advanced to a rare immortal pet, Zenith Heaven Void True Dragon. In 10 years, under the enhancement of 100 trillion times, they had all grown in the immortal pet growth slots. Now, Qi Ming's 6 immortal pets had already reached the late-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm. They had all established 129,600 law immortal apertures and were all perfected. Next, if they wanted to take another step forward, it was even more difficult. In the past 100,000 years, the Demon Buddha Red Dust had improved greatly. After growing for so long under the enhancement of 100 trillion times, it had established 129,600 rule immortal apertures a long time ago. Next, it was to step into the upper world Immortal King realm. Normally speaking, if it wanted to break through to the upper world Immortal King realm, the first step was to fuse all 129,600 immortal apertures. When he succeeded, all the power would belong to him, and he could step into the upper world Immortal King realm. Ding! Congratulations, host! Your rare immortal pet, Demon Buddha Red Dust, has grown for 100,000 years under the enhancement of 100 trillion times. It has successfully fused 129,600 rule immortal apertures. All the power has fused into one. Its cultivation level has successfully broken through to the early stage upper world Immortal King realm. A notification appeared. A smile appeared on Qi Ming's face. He had already left the ancient immortal city for a long time. He had traveled the surroundings and walked through immortal cities and immortal realms one after another. While traveling, Qi Ming encountered many things. He could use his experience to create a book called 9 Provinces Travels. Through nearly 10,000 years of travel, Qi Ming basically had a greater understanding of the 9 provinces domain. At the same time, Qi Ming also knew a lot about the history of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. 9 provinces domain, Eastern Victory Divine Province, Great Peace System, Heaven Sealing Region. In the Vale Manor City, there was an immortal building. It was called the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower. In the room, Qi Ming was tasting a cup of immortal wine that was not bad. The taste was indeed mellow and rich. It was a true immortal wine. If a mortal drank a mouthful, they would be reborn and have the potential to become an immortal. Not bad, not bad. Qi Ming narrowed his eyes slightly and looked over. In the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower, there were beautiful fairies with outstanding figures and various temperaments flying. Their dance was graceful and was surrounded by immortal fog. They were faintly discernible and added charm. Beside Qi Ming sat 2 top hostesses of the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower. These 2 top hostesses were even more beautiful. Moreover, they had a special physique. Every time they met, they would have the effect of improving their cultivation. This physique was called the Coitus Immortal Body. The top host of the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower had a high cultivation level, but they were all at the perfected immortal realm. Qi Ming had traveled the 9 provinces domain for 10,000 years. Not only had he left the ancient immortal city, but he had also directly left the territory of the Cloud Lightning Province and arrived at the Eastern Victory Divine Province. Unfortunately, Qi Ming did not find any flower fruit mountain in the Eastern Victory Divine Province, nor had he heard of the Monkey King, the Great Sage, Heaven's Equal, Sun Wukong. It was not the Eastern Victory Divine Province as Qi Ming had imagined. As for the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower, this was the business of the Coitus Immortal Sect, a first-rate faction in the Vale Manor city. The Coitus Immortal sect cultivated the Deo of Coitus. Many fairies in the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower were actually disciples of the Coitus Immortal sect. Actually, Qi Ming had traveled for more than 10,000 years and felt more and more that the upper world was no different from the lower realms mortal world. There were all kinds of conflicts. However, in the lower realms mortal world, mortals only had 100 years of lifespan, and cultivators could not escape the shackles of lifespan. Only by ascending to become immortals could they obtain eternal life. In the lower realms mortal world, it was filled with deception, conflict, and war. In the upper world, apart from the immortals of the upper world, there were also many cultivators who had not reached the immortal level. There were quite a number of these cultivators. In the upper world, these cultivators were like ordinary mortals in the lower realm. Immortals of the upper world were like cultivators of the lower realm. The immortals of the upper world had long been immortal. Their lifespan was as long as the heavens, but they were restricted by the shackles of providence. The moment their providence was exhausted, the heavenly human 5 declines would descend and they would not be able to escape death. The goal of the immortals of the upper world was to compete for providence and increase their cultivation levels. If they broke through to the immortal realm as soon as possible, they would not be restricted by the shackles of providence and would completely be free and unfettered. Similarly, in the upper world, it was also filled with various schemes, conflicts, battles, and calamities. At this moment, someone knocked on the door of Qi Ming's room. "There's a guest." Qi Ming put down the wine glass in his hand and gestured at the 2 top beauties beside him. He instructed, "The 2 of you, open the door and welcome him." "Yes." The 2 top-notch fairies looked at each other and slowly stood up. They walked to the door of the room and opened it. Outside the door, there was only one figure standing. On this figure, wisps of terrifying aura seeped out, causing the bodies of the 2 top-notch perfected immortals to stiffen and be unable to move at all. Heaven enlightenment. The figure standing outside the door had a square face and was dressed in a green robe. He had his hands behind his back. Between his brows was a Z-shaped mark that was slanted like a bolt of lightning. "We've been looking for you for a long time." He directly walked in front of Qi Ming. "Is that so?" Qi Ming smiled. "Congratulations! You've finally found me." Thump. Thump. The 2 female lead immortals knelt on the ground. This square-faced middle-aged man stood in front of Qi Ming. He was 2 meters tall and looked down at Qi Ming, who was sitting. He said in a low voice, "Are you going to surrender and leave with me now? Or do you want me to personally capture you and bring you back to the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty?" Qi Ming's gaze was calm as he did not answer. "I didn't expect to be unable to avoid you." "How persistent." 1,000 years ago, before Qi Ming arrived at the Eastern Victory Divine Province, he was still traveling in the Cloud Lightning Province when he was suddenly ambushed by the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. They even mobilized 9 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals. At that time, because Qi Ming was not sure that the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty would suddenly attack him, he was not too vigilant and did not hide his secrets. Therefore, he was discovered by the experts of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty and locked onto. The 9 late-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal experts, coupled with many Golden Immortals and Grand Unity Mystic Immortals, set up an inescapable net in the Heavenless City. Qi Ming did not expect this. Although he had been warned beforehand, he did not notice it and fell into the trap. He was trapped in the inescapable net. A huge battle erupted. In that battle, Qi Ming could be said to have become famous overnight. He directly activated the servant system and summoned a large number of servants. These servants included immortals, perfected immortals, mystic immortals, Grand Unity Mystic Immortals, and Golden Immortals. 6 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal level immortal pets were also summoned. Coupled with Qi Ming himself, this was an extremely terrifying battle. He fought the 9 Zenith Heavens and the inescapable net. This battle lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. Qi Ming forcefully tore apart the inescapable net. The myriad techniques returned to one, resolved all divine power spells and used his incomparably powerful strength to kill the 9 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. He killed all 9 Zenith Heavens. The Golden Immortals and many Grand Unity Mystic Immortals died in his hands. The entire Heavenless City was destroyed. There were countless casualties. Similarly, Qi Ming had lost more than half of his servants. The 6 immortal pets were also heavily injured. Even the Death God had almost died in this battle. Fortunately, Qi Ming had very timely recalled the Death God into the immortal pet growth slot. Otherwise, it was very likely that the Death God would be surrounded and killed. It was also this battle that made Qi Ming completely famous. The entire Heavenless City was destroyed. Countless living beings and immortals died. Blood flowed like a river, and the scene was terrifying. Honestly, Qi Ming indeed did not know how he had been exposed. He was also not very sure why the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty could lock onto his location and directly set up a trap. After this matter, Qi Ming became very cautious. He used the power of his divine power to hide from the heavenly secrets. Every time he went anywhere, he would carefully deduce it to avoid accidentally stepping into a trap. Unknowingly, a full 1,000 years passed. In the past 1,000 years, Qi Ming had always been chased by the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. The experts they sent were stronger and stronger, but Qi Ming avoided all of them and did not fight head-on. This time, Qi Ming originally thought that he could avoid the pursuit of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty again. Now it seemed, Qi Ming still could not avoid the other party. 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. Qi Ming pondered for a moment with a calm expression. He looked straight at the other party and asked, "To be honest, I'm very curious now. I indeed want to know why the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty wants to find trouble with me." "I can't tell you," the square-faced middle-aged man said. "Who are you?" Qi Ming asked again. 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty, Upper World Immortal King, Emma Wuling. The square-faced middle-aged man answered Qi Ming's question. Qi Ming's expression was slightly solemn. They actually sent an Upper World Immortal King. In the previous pursuit, the strongest was only a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal who cultivated the rules. Chapter 335, Heart Transmutation of the Immortal Aperture, Heart of the Immortal King, 9 Provinces Immortal Execution List. This Upper World Immortal King, Emma Wuling, called Qi Ming Heaven Enlightenment. Therefore, Emma Wuling did not know Qi Ming's true name. This meant that the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty did not know his true name. Qi Ming had indeed hidden it quite well. Emma Wuling was not the true name of the Upper World Immortal King in front of him. It was only a code name. In the Upper World, there were various divine power methods and cursed divine powers. His true name would not be casually leaked to avoid being cursed by the enemy. In many cases, the immortals of the upper world would all give themselves a Dao name. For example, the ancient immortal Zenith Heaven that Qi Ming had encountered previously, the Silver-Winged Zenith Heaven, and the others had all given themselves the Dao names of the Silver-Winged Zenith Heaven and the ancient immortal Zenith Heaven. This was not their true name. Heaven Enlightenment. Emma Wuling's gaze was indifferent. "You already have no way to escape now, although I'm not very sure why those important figures of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty want to kill you. But your name has already entered the 9 provinces Immortal Execution List. You're already on the rankings, so you're a must-kill immortal of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. All immortals who are on the rankings, besides the sect master of the primordial demon sect and the Phoenix Lord of the 9-headed Phoenix, are not spared. In the end, they were all killed and died. So you won't be an exception. As time passes, the longer you live, the stronger the experts who will kill you will be." 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. Qi Ming's gaze gradually turned cold. He had ascended to the first upper world and arrived at the 9 provinces domain. By chance, he had stepped into the primordial demon territory. He had spent a lot of effort to leave it. Originally, Qiming did not want to be involved in the battle of the 9 provinces domain. A human does not want to harm the tiger, but the tiger wants to harm the human. From the beginning, Qiming did not plan to be enemies with the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. He did not even plan to have much contact with them. Therefore, Qiming did not join the primordial demon sect or the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. Unfortunately, things did not go according to plan. Qiming's identity as a Dao cultivator had still been exposed. Although he still did not know why he had been exposed, he was directly seen as a thorn in the side of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. They had also placed Qiming on the 9 provinces Immortal execution list. They wanted to use the power of the entire 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty to kill Qiming. The reason was very simple. Qiming was a Dao cultivator, and the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty was established by Dao cultivator in the last epoch. Qiming would shake the foundation of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. The rulers of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty were afraid that Qiming would threaten them when he grew up, so they wanted to kill him in the cradle. Ridiculous! Ridiculous! Qiming only used his divine power to mobilize the heavenly secrets and karma. He spent a lot of dharmic powers and deduced a portion of the truth of the matter. The 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty has existed for an epoch. Now, the epic calamity is about to arrive with unstoppable might. The heaven and earth tribulation chi, and the karma of the mortal world are surging over. The rulers of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty have already been blinded by this karma that fills the sky. They can't see through the truth of the world and make such a stupid decision. It's indeed time to change the 9 provinces domain. Impudent! Mo Wuling berated. His gaze was like lightning as killing intent surged. Heaven enlightenment, you're really bold to dare to talk nonsense about the great figures of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. You really deserve to die. Mo Wuling was an upper world immortal king after all. Although he was only an upper world immortal king who was an ordinary cultivator, he was still an upper world immortal king. He was powerful and suppressed an area. Mo Wuling called the rulers of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty great figures. In other words, these great figures and those in power definitely surpassed Mo Wuling. 5 Spirit Divine Palm! Mo Wuling shouted. He raised his hand and slapped down. It contained terrifying power and surged with dharmic powers. The 129,600 dharmic powers and immortal apertures had long fused into one, evolving into the immortal king's heart. When the immortal aperture turned into a heart, one could become an immortal king. An explosion sounded. Mo Wuling's palm landed. It was an extremely pure endless dharmic powers that condensed into a huge palm print. It sealed the surrounding space and locked onto Qiming. Chaos Buzhu Mountain. With a thought, the intrinsic immortal treasure flew out of his danshan. In an instant, it floated above his head and protected his body. The Chaos Buzhu Mountain soared into the sky and shattered Mo Wuling's palm print, blocking this strike. It produced a huge explosion, and the dharmic powers and power of the explosion spread in all directions. Rumble. Because of this battle, a terrifying energy fluctuation appeared in the highest level room of the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower where Qiming was. The power of his dharmic powers spread and shook the space in all directions, producing waves. In an instant, the entire room exploded. All kinds of explosions sounded. The top level of the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower was sent flying. A huge hole appeared. Ah! The 2 flower attendants at the perfected immortal realm cried out in surprise. They were closest, so they were the most affected. The aftershock of the battle sent the 2 of them flying. They coughed out blood and stabilized themselves with fearful gazes. How dare they? They actually dare to cause trouble in the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower. The commotion is not small. What happened? In the surroundings, in the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower. Many immortals looked over and looked at the source of the commotion. Their eyes were filled with curiosity and schadenfreude. The 100 Flowers Immortal Tower was the business of the Coitus faction and was protected by it. The Coitus faction was extremely powerful in the Vale Manor city, and there were a total of 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals in the sect. In the past, immortals who had caused trouble had also appeared in the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower. There was even one time when a Golden Immortal had caused trouble in the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower. In the end, he was suppressed on the spot by the Golden Immortal Patriarch of the Coitus sect, and his corpse exploded outside the city gate of the Vale Manor city. As time passed, his entire immortal body was corroded by time and completely weathered. From then on, no immortals dared to cause trouble in the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower anymore. All of them followed the rules set by the Immortal Tower and did not dare to cross them at all. Today, such a huge thing had actually happened. The elegant room of the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower was destroyed, and the entire level was sent flying, causing an extremely huge commotion. The fluctuation of energy and dharmic powers dissipated. 2 figures tore through the air. Qiming and Emma Wuling appeared. Their figures appeared in the vision of all the immortals present, attracting the attention of all the surrounding living beings. Are they the ones causing trouble? Impressive. Do they have any grudges? However, no matter what grudges there are, they can't attack in the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower. It's forbidden to attack in the building. Not only did the 2 of them attack, but they also caused such a huge commotion. I think the 2 of them are doomed. The Coitus faction's Golden Immortal Patriarch is about to arrive. Many immortals discussed. At the same time, the fairies of the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower and the many disciples of the Coitus sect raised their heads and looked at the battlefield in the sky, their gazes filled with curiosity. They had not seen any troublemakers for a long time. Heaven enlightenment. Emma Wuling said in a low voice, although I don't know how you tore apart the inescapable net back then and destroyed the 9 Zenith heavens back then, causing countless casualties, you're definitely not my match. It's good to be confident. Qiming smiled and said calmly, unfortunately, you don't have the strength. You're indeed very arrogant. Emma Wuling took a deep breath and sized up Qiming a few times before saying in a low voice, early stage mystic immortal. You're still hiding your cultivation level in front of me? What's the point? I don't believe that an early stage mystic immortal can tear apart the inescapable net and kill 9 Zenith heavens. Hee. Qiming shrugged. I'm indeed at the early stage mystic immortal realm. Good, Emma Wuling shouted, in that case, I'll completely break your disguise and make you unable to hide anymore. I'll let you see the power of an upper world immortal king. Emma Wuling was prepared to attack first. At this moment, the Golden Immortal Patriarchs of the Coitus sect appeared. 3 Golden Immortal Patriarchs arrived, and every one of them was at the late-stage Golden Immortal realm. They appeared around the battlefield. Stop! The 3 Golden Immortal Patriarchs of the Coitus sect shouted, how dare you! However, you dare to cause trouble in the 100 Flowers Immortal Tower. Do you not take the Coitus sect seriously? Coitus sect? Emma Wuling paused for a moment and turned around with a cold gaze, a mere first-rate faction dares to be insolent in front of me? Get lost! Emma Wuling's roar was like a monstrous wave that surged and shook everything. Ripples appeared in the space as the aura of an upper world immortal king erupted. Pfft! This is Immortal King. Upper world immortal king. Immortal king. The 3 Golden Immortal Patriarchs of the Coitus sect were shocked. They were even pressed down by Emma Wuling's aura until blood flowed from the corner of their mouths. Their entire bodies were trembling. They were incomparably afraid and suffered internal injuries. Gasp! Upper world immortal king. Oh God! It's actually an upper world immortal king. He's actually an upper world immortal king. This is too terrifying. I'm actually fortunate enough to see an upper world immortal king. Immortal king above. In the surroundings, many immortals had respectful gazes, respectful voices, and respectful expressions. They bowed to Emma Wuling respectfully. Gulp. The 3 golden immortal patriarchs of the Coitus sect swallowed their saliva and did not dare to say anything else. They quickly retreated outside the battlefield and were already contacting the ancestors of the Coitus sect. Not long after, the 5 ancestors of the Coitus sect's Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal were all present. They suppressed their strength and did not dare to cause any phenomenon. After they appeared, they bowed to Emma Wooling. The Coitus sect welcomes the spiritless Immortal King. The 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals of the Coitus sect said respectfully and bowed extremely low. Facing the upper world Immortal King, Emma Wooling, they did not dare to be unhappy. Chapter 336, Heaven and Earth Coitus Array. Qi Ming remained calm and sized up the 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals of the Coitus sect. There was a late-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, a mid-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, and 3 early-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals. There were 3 men and 2 women. However, one could not tell their age from their appearance. However, from their appearance, one would probably think that they were only a young man and woman in their 20s or 30s. They were at least 100 million years old. Qi Ming was already more than 100,000 years old. He did not remember the exact age, but he could calculate his age with his fingers. He was already 138,456 years old. If it was in the lower realm, at this age, he could already be considered an ancestor. However, in the upper world, it was common. Immortals of the upper world were immortal and had lifespans comparable to the heavens. However, they would be affected by providence and experience calamities. Normally speaking, the immortals of the upper world, including the upper world immortal kings, would have their providence reduced every 129,600 years. The higher the realm, the deeper the providence. Very good. Emma Wooling nodded in satisfaction. His gaze swept across the 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals of the Coitus sect in front of him. With a wave of his right hand, he took out a token. On it was the carving of a 5-clawed golden dragon. It was lifelike. This was the 5-clawed golden dragon token. Apart from that, there was also the 7-clawed true dragon token and the 9-clawed ancestral dragon token. The 5-clawed golden dragon token was the lowest. The 9-clawed ancestral dragon token was the highest. This was the dragon token issued by the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. If one wanted to obtain the dragon token, they had to at least have the cultivation of an upper world immortal king. Moreover, they had to be sufficiently loyal to the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty and make the corresponding contribution. Normally speaking, the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty had bestowed the 5-clawed golden dragon token with the authority to mobilize the power of the Immortal City and the Immortal Domain. In the territory of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty, all first-rate factions had to listen to the orders of the person holding the token. If they did not obey the order, the first-rate factions that resisted the orders would be surrounded and attacked by the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. In addition, the person who held the dragon token was called a dragon envoy. From low to high, according to the level of the dragon token, they were divided into 5-clawed golden dragon envoy, 7-clawed true dragon envoy, and 9-clawed ancestral dragon envoy. The power of the dragon envoy was not small. It was subordinate to the 9 provinces Dragon Pavilion and was a power organization established by the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. It was also a part of the overall strength of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. The 9 provinces Dragon Pavilion was different from the Dark Team Pavilion. The scope of power it possessed was not related and did not interfere with each other. However, they were both power institutions established by the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty and were a portion of the power of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. Apart from the 9 provinces Dragon Pavilion and the Dark Team Pavilion, the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty had established many power institutions, such as the Immortal Slaying Hall, the Demon Slaying Hall, the Consecrator Pavilion, and so on. These power organizations were not weak. Every one of them was comparable to a top faction or even much stronger than them. Among the many authority institutions established by the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty, there were three great authority institutions that were the cornerstones of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. They supported the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty with incomparably powerful strength. The three main pillars of power were called Deo Protection Palace, 9 provinces Regulatory Department, and the Immortal Dynasty's Cabinet. The Deo Protection Palace was directly controlled by the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty's imperial family. Basically, they were all members of the imperial family. They were extremely powerful and grasped powerful divine powers. In fact, there were also rumors that there were Deo cultivators in the Deo Protection Palace. The 9 provinces Regulatory Department was a power organization established by the various royal families of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. It was mainly used to manage the various factions in the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. The Immortal Dynasty's cabinet was a power organization established by the elders of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. Its power range was very wide, and it was also very powerful. It could even affect the overall decision-making of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. The three great power institutions appeared to be on 3 sides. While they fought each other, they also supported each other. However, as the epic calamity approached, the mortal world karma and karma tribulation chi gradually filled the 9 provinces domain, causing the battle between the three great power institutions to become more and more intense. It was not only the internal conflicts of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. In the 9 provinces domain, the conflicts between the various factions, races, and sects became more and more frequent. In various places in the 9 provinces, many ferocious beasts appeared one after another, forming several beast tides, causing many immortals to die and many living beings to die. Coitus sect, listen up. Mo Wuling held the 5-clawed golden dragon token and pointed at Qi Ming in front of him. He then looked at the 5 Zenith Heaven golden immortals of the Coitus sect and ordered in a deep voice, "Now, I order you to immediately help me capture heaven enlightenment. After this, I will definitely remember a meritorious deed for your Coitus sect." This spiritless immortal king, we. Yes. The 5 Zenith Heaven golden immortals of the Coitus sect looked at each other and then at Qi Ming. They took a deep breath and did not dare to disobey the orders of the spiritless immortal king. The figures of the 5 Zenith Heaven golden immortals of the Coitus sect flashed and surrounded Qi Ming. Their gazes were sharp as dharmic powers surged, and the power of the laws gradually spread. These are the 5 ancestors of the Coitus sect's Zenith Heaven golden immortal. These are 5 Zenith Heavens. They're about to attack. The enemy Lord Immortal King wants to capture is him, right? Heaven enlightenment? I've never heard of it, but to be able to be spent so much by Lord Immortal King, his background must be not small and his strength is very strong. Could it be that this heaven enlightenment is also an upper world Immortal King? No. No. The aura fluctuation emitted from his body, I'm very sure that he's only at the early stage mystic immortal realm. He's definitely not an upper world Immortal King. Early stage mystic immortal realm? Impossible. If he's at the early stage mystic immortal realm, how can the 9 provinces dragon pavilion mobilize a 5-clawed golden dragon envoy? That's right. The other party must have hidden his cultivation. If he's really at the early stage mystic immortal realm, this battle will already end before it even begins. In the surroundings, many immortals looked at the situation and discussed. Quickly prepare to join forces and use the heaven and earth Coitus array. My information is not wrong. This deist heaven enlightenment in front of us is not ordinary. 1,000 years ago, in the battle of the Cloud Lightning Province's heavenless city, he tore apart the inescapable net of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty and destroyed this heavenless city. At that time, there were indeed casualties and blood flowed like a river. Up until now, the heavenless city had already become a ghost town. Attack with all your might. Attack! The 5 Zenith Heaven golden immortals of the Coitus sect shouted. Their dharmic powers combined and laws gathered. They formed hand seals and array formation runes appeared. In an extremely short period of time, the heaven and earth Coitus array quickly evolved. Ridiculous! Qi Ming shook his head and looked at the heaven and earth Coitus array they had set up. In Qi Ming's eyes, it was simply filled with flaws. This can also be called an array. Chaos World Piercing Sword. Qi Ming pointed with his right hand, and the intrinsic immortal treasure, the Chaos World Piercing Sword, appeared out of thin air. It transformed into an extremely sharp sword light that was like a chaotic sword chi that slashed apart everything. He only used a sword to strike the fatal gap in the heaven and earth Coitus array. With powerful dharmic powers, he tore the entire array apart. The 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals were shocked. Qi Ming's strength had completely exceeded their expectations. They originally thought that the heaven and earth Coitus array could trap Qi Ming for a period of time. Now it seemed, it could not withstand a single blow. Boom! The heaven and earth Coitus array shattered, and the aftershock of the explosion spread, sending the 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals flying. Blood flowed from the corner of their mouths, and they were clearly injured. Gasp! One strike! One strike! Isn't this too strong? The 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals of the Coitus sect combined forces to set up the array and actually could not withstand a strike of heaven enlightenment. How terrifying is this? It's simply terrifying. No wonder Lord Spiritless Immortal King wanted to personally take action. Moreover, he spent a lot of effort to let the 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals of the Coitus sect test the strength of heaven enlightenment. In the surroundings, many immortals discussed animatedly, shocked by Qi Ming's strength. Ancestor! This! The 5 ancestors combined could not withstand a single strike. The Golden Immortal Patriarchs of the Coitus sect and the Fairy Disciples of the Coitus sect were incomparably shocked. They were dumbfounded, and their hearts were filled with nervousness and fear. What a bunch of trash! Emma Wooling took a deep breath. His gaze was cold as he swept his gaze across the 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals of the Coitus sect. You can't even block Heaven Enlightenment's sword. Wee. Immortal King. The 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals of the Coitus sect lowered their heads. Emma Wooling. Qi Ming's gaze was calm as he said indifferently, "Next, it's my turn. Come out." Qi Ming waved his right hand and summoned 6 immortal pets. They were Huo Chongqing, Death God, Little Calamity, Little Yin, Little Bat, and Black Flame. They stood beside Qi Ming. "Greetings, Master." Black Flame and the others bowed. Qi Ming's 6 immortal pets had all reached the late-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal realm. They were all very strong. In addition, Qi Ming did not summon the Demon Buddha Red Dust. Not long ago, it had already broken through to the upper world Immortal King. The Demon Buddha Red Dust cultivated the rules. Demon Buddha Red Dust was an upper world rule Immortal King. His combat strength was extremely powerful. In fact, it was very likely that he had already surpassed Qi Ming's strength. Demon Buddha Red Dust was Qi Ming's trump card. It was the same as the Heavenly Dao Treasure, Space-Time Gate. He would not easily use it. He had enough trump cards to deal with the enemies of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. 6 immortal pets, listen up. Qi Ming shouted, "Kill Emma Wooling." Yes. Yes. Attack. Boom. Boom. Huo Chongqing and the others shouted in unison. Facing the upper world Immortal King, they were not afraid at all. They erupted with powerful strength. The power of the law spread as they attacked Emma Wooling. "Aren't you coming out?" Emma Wooling shouted. "Yes. Yes, Lord Dragon Envoy." In the surroundings, figures immediately rushed out. They were apprentice dragon envoys. Normally speaking, every 5-clawed golden dragon envoy had 9 apprentice dragon envoys accompanying them. The apprentice dragon envoy had the cultivation of the late-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. An intense battle erupted. Qi Ming's 6 immortal pets were blocked by Emma Wooling's 9 apprentice dragon envoys. They erupted in an extremely intense battle and quickly attacked the sky. Chapter 337, Fighting the Upper World Immortal King. At this moment, Qi Ming and Emma Wuling rushed into the sky at almost the same time. Their figures became blurry. Their auras collided, and the atmosphere was already confrontational, causing a huge commotion. The surrounding space shook slightly. Above, Qi Ming's 6 immortal pets fought Emma Wuling's 9 apprentice dragon envoys. An extremely intense battle happened between the 15 Zenith heavens. All kinds of divine powers and spells collided, causing the scene to be extremely magnificent. Laws collided and divine powers collided, and it was gorgeous and colorful. In a short period of time, there was no way to determine the winner. Activate the Immortal Protection Formation. The City Lord of the Vale Manor City appeared. His gaze was solemn. With a wave of his right hand, the core array formation flew out and covered the sky. Yes. Yes. Immediately after, golden immortals appeared in the Vale Manor City. Under the orders of the City Lord, they activated the City Protection Immortal Array of the Vale Manor City. The scene was vast and powerful. In the blink of an eye, an extremely vast array formation screen enveloped the surroundings and enveloped the entire Vale Manor City, blocking the aftershock of the battle and preventing it from being affected. The City Lord of the Vale Manor City heaved a sigh of relief and felt lingering fear. Fortunately, I arrived in time. Otherwise, if a battle were to occur here, just the aftershock of the battle would destroy the entire Vale Manor City. Now that the Immortal Protection Formation is activated, it can block the aftershock of the battle. In the Vale Manor City, after many immortals and living beings saw the Immortal Protection Formation, they heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts. Their expressions were much more relaxed, and they could watch the battle in peace without worrying about being affected by the aftershock of the battle. The upper world immortal kings were already the strongest realm of the immortal realm. They had already reached the limit of the immortal realm. Therefore, the upper world immortal kings were all very powerful, and their destructive power was even more terrifying. Attack! Emma Wuling's shout sounded. His figure tore through the air and produced a sonic boom. The space shook. He was the first to attack Qi Ming. Dharmic powers spread as countless swords, staffs, axes, halberds, and spears transformed into various weapons and blades. They hid the sky and covered the earth as they surrounded Qi Ming. Reversing wind. Qi Ming raised his hand. In his palm, the power of a divine power spread. An invisible fluctuation spread. The power of the heaven and earth great Dao followed and resolved Emma Wuling's spell. All kinds of weapons and blades dissipated, turning into dharmic powers energy that filled the sky. Emma Wuling was shocked. Clear sky true fire. Emma Wuling spat out true fire as if she had transformed into a sun and was about to become a three-legged golden crow. The true fire spread and burned everything. The clear sky true fire that Emma Wuling used was too powerful and could not be resolved with reversing wind. Die! Qi Ming took a deep breath and waved his right hand, using the Great Divine Power, Great Calamity Technique. He used the Great Calamity Technique to block Emma Wuling's clear sky true fire. The Calamity Black Hole devoured all the clear sky true fire, and the entire sky became clear. Qi Ming and Emma Wuling fought consecutively. In an extremely short period of time, they fought dozens of moves. The battle between the two sides was actually only the initial exchange and probing. It could be said that the battle was evenly matched. So powerful! Lord Spiritless Immortal King is an upper world immortal king. He possesses supreme dharmic powers and condensed the immortal king's heart. His cultivation has already reached the limit of the immortal realm. I didn't expect that heaven enlightenment could actually block Lord Spiritless' attack. Unbelievable! We can all clearly sense the cultivation level of heaven enlightenment. It's only at the early stage mystic immortal realm. An early stage mystic immortal can actually fight an upper world immortal king? This simply broke my understanding. This is too shocking. In the Vale Manor City, the immortals and many living beings raised their heads to watch the battle and discussed animatedly. They did not know Qi Ming's true name and only knew his Dao name, Heaven Enlightenment. The cultivation level that Qiming displayed was at the early stage Mystic Immortal realm, but he was able to fight Mo Wuling at the upper world Immortal King realm equally. Something like this was too shocking. The immortals present did not dare to believe it and were very shocked. I think that the true cultivation of heaven enlightenment is definitely not at the early stage Mystic Immortal realm. At the very least, he's at the late stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal realm. He might be cultivating the rules. Otherwise, it's definitely impossible for him to possess such strength. That's right, that's right. I also think that heaven enlightenment must have disguised his true cultivation. He might even be in the Immortal King realm of the upper world like Lord Mo Wuling. The Golden Immortals of the Vale Manor City and the Golden Immortals of the Coitus sect were all discussing and guessing at Qiming's cultivation. In fact, Qiming was really in the early stage Mystic Immortal realm. He was fighting the upper world Immortal King Mo Wuling with his early stage Mystic Immortal realm cultivation. Come and fight! Qiming shouted in a deep voice and took another step forward. There was no fear in his heart at all, only extremely high fighting spirit and determination. He roared with a magnificent aura, Pangu true body. Qiming was prepared to fight with all his might. He wanted to use Mo Wuling to test what level his strength had reached and whether he could truly fight the upper world Immortal King. Mo Wuling was a mere cultivator. He only cultivated supreme dharmic powers and did not comprehend heaven and earth. He used supreme dharmic powers to break through to the limit realm of the immortal realm, becoming the upper world Immortal King. Qiming's body shook. All kinds of divine power phenomena spread out from his body and fused into one. Chaos fog spread and he transformed into the giant Pangu god. Chaos Great Axe. After Qiming used the Pangu true body, the change was indeed not small. He raised his right hand again, and the three intrinsic immortal treasures flew out. Come! Chaos Great Deo Sword Lotus, Chaos World Piercing Sword, Chaos Buzhu Mountain. The three intrinsic immortal treasures fused into one and transformed into the Chaos Great Axe. Qiming held the Chaos Great Axe and stood in the void, looking straight at Mo Wuling. Slash! Qiming raised his hand and slashed with his axe. He did not make any unnecessary movements or use any divine power spells. Instead, a Chaos Axe light slashed at Mo Wuling. How dare you! Mo Wuling shouted. He used a divine power method and teleported, dodging Qiming's axe and avoiding this strike. Then, Mo Wuling's figure appeared behind Qiming. 5 Spirit Divine Cauldron. Mo Wuling took out a low-grade upper world Immortal King artifact. It was a huge green-purple three-legged cauldron. In this cauldron, it could only evolve into the 5 Spirit Dharma Idol. They were Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, and Kylan. Roar! 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 The 5 divine beasts roared repeatedly. Their auras were extremely powerful and suppressed in all directions. They contained extremely terrifying power, causing the surrounding space to crack. Suppress! Mo Wuling's right hand landed, and the 5 Spirit Divine Cauldron flew into the air and suppressed Qiming. Accompanied by the roars of the 5 spirit beasts, it was indeed very powerful. 3 Pure Avatars. With a thought, a dense clear chi escaped from above his head. The clear chi split into 3 and instantly transformed into the 3 pure avatars. Jade Pure, Supreme Pure, Grand Pure. 5 Emperor's Great Deo Divine Power. The 3 pure avatars appeared. They rushed towards the 5 Spirit Divine Cauldron that was suppressing them. At the same time, they used the power of the 5 Kings' Great Deo Divine Power and released all their powerful strength. Around the 3 pure avatars, the Dharma idols of the 5 emperors appeared. They were extremely vast and contained the power of the 5 elements of the Great Deo. They fused together and transformed into 3 huge 5 elements millstones. Their power shook the heavens and the earth. An explosion sounded. The power of the 5 Great Deo Divine Powers transformed into a huge 5 elements millstone. It collided with the 5 Spirit Divine Cauldron head-on, producing a terrifying explosion. Crack! Crack. First, the moment the two sides collided, the surrounding space was the first to be unable to withstand it. Cracks that were like spider webs spread out densely. Then, the aftershocks constantly spread out. The ground in all directions cracked, as if an extremely terrifying earthquake had happened. The mountains and rivers collapsed, producing a terrifying destructive scene. The city lord of the Vale Manor City was doing his best to maintain the immortal protection array. With the help of the Golden Immortals, he blocked the terrifying aftershock of the battle. Ripples appeared in the entire immortal protection formation. The storm calmed down, and the aftershock dissipated. After the light dimmed, the city lord of the Vale Manor City heaved a sigh of relief. He felt lingering fear as he looked at the sky with reverence. How terrifying! Just the aftershock of the battle is so terrifying. As expected of an upper world immortal king. An existence that stands at the top of the immortal realm. At this moment, Qi Ming and Emma Wooling appeared in the vision of the many immortals present again. The two of them were unharmed. The 5-spirit divine cauldron flew back into Emma Wooling's hand and floated above his left palm. The 3 pure avatars stood beside Qi Ming. Attack! Qi Ming roared and took the lead to attack again. He attacked Emma Wooling. The 3 pure avatars followed closely and surrounded Emma Wooling from 4 different directions. 3 heads 6 arms. Emma Wooling's gaze was cold. He felt the pressure and immediately used the 3 heads 6 arms divine power technique. With a thought, he took out the 5-spirit divine cauldron, external avatar divine power technique. Vast supreme dharmic powers were injected into the 5-spirit divine cauldron. In a short period of time, it transformed into an avatar with 99% of its strength. 3 heads 6 arms, external avatar. Qi Ming pondered for a moment and looked at Emma Wooling. I've seen these 2 divine power techniques in the past. When Qi Ming was in the mystic world, in the battle between him and the Origin Immortal King, the Origin Immortal King had used the divine power technique of 3 heads 6 arms and the external avatar. Now, Emma Wooling also used the same divine powers to fight Qi Ming. Therefore, Qi Ming was very familiar with them. Qi Ming held the Chaos Great Axe and slashed at Emma Wooling. Emma Wooling had 3 heads and 6 arms and took out 6 different Upper World Immortal King artifacts. They were, the 9 Nether Pure Heaven Silk, the 9 Heavens Supreme Halberd, the 5-Spirit Divine Shield, the Universal Immortal King Ruler, the Golden Dragon Scissors, and the Heaven Slaying Blade. Chapter 338, Karma Lotus Embryo suppresses Immortal King's heart. Facing Qi Ming's attack, Emma Wooling indeed felt a huge pressure. At this moment, he already understood clearly in his heart that Qi Ming was indeed very strong. He definitely deserved his reputation. Instead, he was truly powerful without a doubt. It was no wonder that 1,000 years ago, in the Battle of the Heavenless City, Qi Ming could tear apart the inescapable net set up by the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty alone and kill 9 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals instead, killing all the Immortals sent by the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. The entire Heaven City was destroyed. Life was plunged into misery. 1,000 years later, the battlefield back then had already become a terrifying ghost town. 5-Spirit Divine Shield. With a thought, Emma Wooling shouted, 9 Nether Pure Heaven Silk. In an instant, Emma Wooling quickly took out these 2 Upper World Immortal King artifacts. The 5-Spirit Divine Shield looked square. From its appearance, it was like a very ordinary oval shield. At the moment the 5-Spirit Divine Shield was activated, it displayed its true power and revealed the 5 divine beasts, Green Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, and Kylan. This was a little similar to the 5-Spirit Divine Cauldron. Roar! Roar! The 5 divine beasts roared and occupied each other, turning into a vast defensive immortal treasure that blocked in front of Emma Wooling. The 9 Nether Pure Heaven Silk also attacked at this moment. There was a loud sound. Qi Ming's axe struck the 5-Spirit Divine Shield. The Chaos Axe light was extremely vast and evolved the power to split the sky. It was as if it split the heavens and earth apart, creating a huge destructive force. Mo Wooling's 5-spirit divine shield was sent flying, but at the same time, it also blocked Qi Ming's axe. The 9 nether pure heaven silk attacked Qi Ming at this moment. This immortal treasure was like a swimming dragon that traversed space and flew towards Qi Ming. It wrapped around his body and possessed an extremely powerful binding ability. The 9 nether pure heaven silk was completely pitch black. It was indeed like a black dragon or a chain that bound Qi Ming's body, preventing him from moving or resisting. Ha ha ha! Mo Wooling laughed loudly and was in a good mood. The 9 nether pure heaven silk is a low-grade upper world immortal king artifact that I refined for 480,000 years after collecting a billion years of 9 nether chi. Coupled with the divine power of the earth sealing heaven bind and various materials, even an upper world immortal king would find it difficult to escape in a short period of time, much less you. Quickly die! Mo Wooling roared and quickly took out the heaven-slaying blade. It was a silver-black saber that had been injected with supreme dharmic powers. It quickly enlarged like a blade of the heavens that contained the intent to slash the heavens. Slash! Mo Wooling's hand landed, and the heaven-slaying blade descended from the sky. It carried the intent to slash at the heavens, as if the sky was about to split into two as it slashed at Qi Ming. Attack! The 3 pure avatars looked at each other and shouted softly. They soared into the sky and used a powerful divine power technique. Dao scripture runes spread and the view was magnificent. Great Dao supremacies. With a thought, Qi Ming's Great Dao Immortal Aperture opened, and Great Dao supremacies rushed out one after another. Every Great Dao supremacy had the strength comparable to Qi Ming's main body and could use the corresponding divine power techniques extremely skillfully. There was a loud sound. Qi Ming used the power of the Great Dao supremacies to shake off the 9 nether pure heaven silk and break free. An incomparably intense battle erupted. As time passed, Qi Ming and Mo Wooling's battle became even more intense and gradually entered a white-hot state. The two sides used powerful divine powers and immortal treasures one after another. Unknowingly, they had already fought for 3 days and 3 nights. It was difficult to determine the winner. Around the battlefield, apart from the Vale Manor city, all of them were affected by the aftershock of the battle, and they transformed into scorched earth. Mountains collapsed and mountains shattered. As far as the eye could see, it was covered in desolation and was impossible to see. In the Vale Manor city, many immortals looked over and stared at the scene of the battlefield. Too strong, too strong. This is the battle of an upper world immortal king. He's standing at the limit of the immortal realm. Even if Lord Spiritless Immortal King is only a normal cultivator, his strength is still extremely powerful and can easily crush a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. Heaven Enlightenment's strength is even more terrifying. Up until now, it has already been 3 days and 3 nights. It's difficult to determine the winner. Moreover, the aura of Heaven Enlightenment's cultivation is completely at the early stage mystic immortal realm. I can't believe it. Could it be that Heaven Enlightenment is really at the early stage mystic immortal realm? Then, he fought Lord Mo Wooling with such strength? Moreover, it's difficult to determine the winner. If that's the case, it's really too shocking. I've never heard of such a thing. Or, Heaven Enlightenment's true cultivation level has actually surpassed the upper world immortal king. The immortals and many living beings did not dare to continue thinking. They could only infer and discuss. Mo Wooling took a deep breath. His face was slightly pale, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. There were also several wounds on his body, all thanks to Qi Ming. The battle lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. Mo Wooling had consumed a lot of energy and was injured. This battle should indeed end. Qi Ming's gaze was calm as he stared at Mo Wooling. Qi Ming also had several wounds on his body that were oozing with blood. In the process of fighting Mo Wooling, Qi Ming was also injured, but he was fine. Supreme Karma Technique. With a thought, Qi Ming formed hand seals and used the supreme divine power. Vast karma aura began to spread around his body. In an extremely short period of time, karma runes surged out and were as vast as stars in the sky. They quickly combined and transformed into a karma lotus embryo that floated above Qi Ming. At the same time, Qi Ming put the great Dao supremacies back into his body. The three pure avatar returned to his body. He retracted all his power and reached his peak. This was because only in this way could he unleash the power of the supreme divine power and the power of the supreme karma technique to fight the enemy with all his might. This is. Mo Wulling's pupils constricted as he felt fear. After fighting for 3 days and 3 nights, he had felt pressure on Qi Ming many times, but this was the first time he felt fatal danger and fear from him. Mo Wulling's body trembled slightly. He took a deep breath and suppressed the fear in his heart as he mobilized all the dharmic powers and strength in his body. In his body, the heartbeat sounded. The heartbeat was very loud, and the frequency of the heartbeat resonated with the frequency of heaven and earth. Immortal King's heart! Mo Wulling shouted. Mo Wulling's body shook. Above his head, a huge Immortal King's heart quickly appeared. It was like a ball and like a white sun. It kept jumping. Immortal King Heart. Actually, it was the core of all the powers of the upper world Immortal Kings, the condensation of all powers, the source of all powers. At this moment, Mo Wulling's Immortal King Heart collided with Qi Ming's Karma Lotus embryo's aura and an invisible conflict occurred. However, Qi Ming's Karma Lotus embryo was clearly stronger than Mo Wulling's Immortal King Heart. Great divine power of destruction. Mo Wulling took a deep breath. His 3 heads and 6 arms disappeared, and his avatar disappeared. All the upper world Immortal King weapons returned to his body. Similarly, Mo Wulling also restrained all his divine powers and methods and used his strength to the limit. He used the Immortal King's heart to activate the Great Destruction divine power and could completely unleash the power of the Great Destruction divine power. The Great Divine Power of Destruction was the only Great Divine Power that Mo Wulling had grasped. It was chosen from the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty's Immortal Dynasty Dao Palace after reaching the level of an upper world Immortal King and becoming a 5-clawed golden dragon envoy. It was extremely powerful. When cultivated to the limit, it could shatter the world. Even laws and rules could be destroyed. It could be said to be an extreme destruction, but it required a powerful cultivation and realm to support it. Crack! Crack! Mo Wulling raised his hands and gathered the power of the Great Destruction divine power. The power of the Immortal King's heart fused into it. Countless lights flickered and revealed a grey color. In a short period of time, Mo Wulling condensed the power of the Great Destruction divine power into an incomparably huge palm that covered the sky. It was majestic and shook heaven and earth. Crack! Crack! The surrounding space could not withstand this power, producing more and more dense cracks, but it recovered in an extremely short period of time and was in a situation of constantly cracking and recovering. This is a great divine power. Lord Spiritless Immortal King used the great divine power. Too strong. Great divine power of destruction. I've heard of it. This is the great divine power of the 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty. It's extremely powerful. When cultivated to the limit, it's enough to destroy the laws and rules. I only took a glance. I feel like my soul is trembling. How terrifying! In the surroundings, many immortals widened their eyes and shouted in reverence. Great Destruction Palm! Mo Wulling roared. This was his full-powered strike that had condensed all his strength. The vast and mighty heaven-shrouding palm had already enveloped Qi Ming and locked onto him, trapping him in all directions. There was no way to dodge. There was no way to flee. He could only withstand this strike. Qi Ming took a deep breath and his gaze was calm. He felt the power of the Karma Lotus embryo and smiled. He slowly raised his hands. Within heaven and earth and all of the myriad worlds, by the entirety of karma transmigration, the power of karma gathered under Qi Ming's control. Everything in the world has a cause and effect. Qi Ming said, "This is karma. Sword, come." Qi Ming raised his right hand high and clenched it gently. He shouted, "Karma sword!" Clang! Accompanied by a sword cry, the Karma Lotus embryo opened like a lotus flower blooming. Golden light was dazzling and endless. There were 24 flower petals and 24 fourth-grade Karma lotuses. In the center of the 24th grade Karma golden lotus, a golden sword was standing straight. This was the sword of Karma. A sword came. The Karma sword seemed to have been summoned as it quickly left the 24th grade Karma golden lotus. It tore through the air and flew into Qi Ming's hand like a golden dragon. Qi Ming held the hilt of the Karma sword. He smiled and looked at the other party. He asked indifferently, "Can you withstand my next strike?" Chapter 339, Slicing an Immortal King into Two. Slash. Qi Ming held the hilt of the Karma sword in his right hand. He could clearly sense the power of the sword and mobilized endless dharmic powers to pour into it. The Karma sword slashed down and locked onto Emma Wuling. It contained the true power of the supreme Karma technique. When Qi Ming slashed out this sword, the golden sword Qi spread. This is... Emma Wuling's pupils constricted. He felt a fatal danger and let out a long roar again. He mobilized all his strength, kill. Qi Ming's Karma sword slashed over. The golden dazzling Karma sword Qi was like a vast golden galaxy that contained supreme power. Then, he slashed apart Emma Wuling's great destruction palm with his sword. The great destruction palm that covered the sky was slashed into two by Qi Ming's Karma sword. Emma Wuling screamed and spat out blood. The great destruction palm was defeated by Qi Ming's sword, and the power of the great destruction divine power dissipated. The aftershock of the Karma sword Qi landed on Emma Wuling's body and defeated his defensive divine power. Blood splattered. Every drop of blood splattered and was as heavy as a mountain. They landed on the ground as if they could crush the mountain range and transform into a blood lake. A bloody sword wound was slashed on Emma Wuling's chest by the aftershock of Qi Ming's Karma sword Qi. It was deep to the bone. Cough cough. Emma Wuling staggered back and coughed out blood. His face was pale, and fear had already appeared in his eyes. He raised his head and looked at Qi Ming as he shouted, "You, who are you? This is Karma. Your divine power has actually already involved Karma. As for the Karma divine power, only the Buddha world eminences of the Buddha world know it. Heaven enlightenment. Are you a Buddha of the Buddha world?" No, Qi Ming explained indifferently, "The Buddha world has nothing to do with me. Instead, you will die under my sword today. Dream on." Emma Wuling roared and quickly took out a low-grade upper world immortal king treasure. Moreover, he used the great destruction divine power and injected the power of the divine power into the upper world immortal king treasure. Explode. Emma Wuling waved his hand, and the upper world immortal king treasure in his hand was taken out. It quickly landed on Qi Ming. He was detonating the upper world immortal king treasure to deal with him with the power of the explosion. The power produced by the self-destruction of an upper world immortal king artifact was indeed very terrifying and difficult to resist. Coupled with the enhancement of the great destruction divine power, it was even stronger. Heaven and earth great Dao, Karma sword Lotus, open. Qi Ming's gaze was calm. Although he felt danger, he was not afraid at all. Instead, he attacked as a defense. The Karma sword slashed out golden sword Qi. In the world, the power of Karma gathered. Endless Buddha light shone, transforming into Buddha figures. You said you're not from the Buddha world. When Emma Wuling saw this phenomenon, he glared and shouted. The Karma sword Qi that Qi Ming slashed out gathered. In an extremely short period of time, it transformed into a huge Karma sword Lotus. The golden sword Lotus blossomed into a 24th grade flower. Fall. The Karma sword Lotus descended with endless power. It contained the power of the heaven and earth great Dao and crushed everything. The powerful power it possessed blocked the power of the upper world immortal king artifact's self-destruction. An earth-shattering explosion sounded. Crack! Crack! All around, fine cracks appeared in the space and quickly recovered. Terrifying energy fluctuations spread in all directions, and the ground collapsed again. The mountain range shattered again, and a destructive scene appeared. The city lord of the Vale Manor city circulated the city protection Immortal formation with all his might to block the aftershock of the battle, allowing the city to be preserved. Outside the Vale Manor city, many Immortal towns, villages, and various races were not so easy. They were affected by the aftershock of the battle and suffered many casualties. Many factions also activated the sect protection array and were spared. Emma Wooling screamed again and spat out blood. He wanted to use the power of the upper world Immortal King Treasure's self-destruction to deal with Qi Ming, but he did not expect that Qi Ming's strength was too powerful. He suffered a backlash and spat out blood as his body flew out. Emma Wooling was an upper world Immortal King after all. Even if he was only a cultivator, his strength was very powerful. Just these injuries could not injure Emma Wooling's foundation. In the surroundings, many living beings were watching the battle. So powerful! I really didn't expect that Lord Spiritless Immortal King was actually suppressed by Heaven Enlightenment. Up until now, he has actually fallen into a disadvantage. Heaven Enlightenment has actually grasped the Karma Divine power. This is a power that only the mighty figures of the Buddha world possess. The Immortals discussed. Attack. Qi Ming's gaze was cold as he attacked with all his might. He slashed out Karma Sword Qi after Karma Sword Qi. The Sword Qi rampaged in the world and sealed all directions of Emma Wooling. Great divine power of destruction. Emma Wooling roared. Facing Qi Ming's killer move, he could not dodge and could only face it head-on. He attacked with all his might and roared repeatedly. The great destruction divine power transformed into a domain, as if it had established a world. Myriad techniques returned to one. Qi Ming waved his left hand and used another supreme divine power technique. It was the divine power that Qi Ming had deduced by combining the heavenly constellation 36 techniques with the Earth Fiend 72 techniques. Break. The myriad techniques returned to one that Qi Ming used was like a dazzling 9-colored light. It was like a light beam that directly pierced through the destruction domain. Emma Wooling's great divine power of destruction was resolved by Qi Ming with the myriad techniques returned to one. The power of the great divine power dissipated into nothingness. What is this? Emma Wooling looked terrified. My divine power, my power. No. Emma Wooling screamed. Die. Qi Ming's Karma Sword Qi came one after another. Emma Wooling could only take out all his upper world Immortal King treasures, but he could not block Qi Ming's Karma Sword Qi at all. A miserable cry sounded. Emma Wooling spat out blood as wounds appeared all over his body. He was drenched in blood and had serious injuries. His face was even paler. The Karma Sword Qi that Qi Ming slashed out contained the power of karma. After injuring Emma Wooling, it seeped into his wound and surged into his body. It corroded Emma Wooling's vitality and his providence. You. Fear had already appeared on Emma Wooling's face. Lord Dragon Envoy. Oh no. Lord Dragon Envoy is in danger. In the sky, the 9 apprentice Dragon Envoys looked over. After seeing Emma Wooling's situation, shock appeared on their faces. They wanted to leave the battlefield and help him. Dream on. Your opponent is us. Attack. Boom. Boom. An explosion sounded. Qi Ming's 6 immortal pets, Huo Chongqing and the others, attacked with all their might and used divine power techniques one after another. They had grown for so many years in the immortal pet growth slot and had long grasped all kinds of divine power spells to the limit. Huo Chongqing was very strong. Although the 9 apprentice dragon envoys cultivated laws like Huo Chongqing and the others and were all late-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals, they were not their match. This. Lord Emma Wooling was actually suppressed to this extent. Gasp. Lord Emma Wooling is an upper world immortal king. Even if he's only an ordinary cultivator, he's still an upper world immortal king. Too strong. This heaven enlightenment is really too strong. The 5 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals of the Coitus sect and the many immortals present revealed shocked expressions. They really could not believe that Emma Wooling would be at a disadvantage. Explode! 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 Emma Wooling was in danger of dying. He, an upper world immortal king, was actually in such a dangerous situation today and faced the threat of death. Emma Wooling shouted. He took out upper world immortal king weapons one after another and self-destructed them. The power produced was blasted at Qi Ming. Space-time vortex. Qi Ming waved his right hand and secretly mobilized the power of the heavenly Dao treasure, space-time gate. The power of space and time surged and formed an invisible vortex. There was a faint door blocking Qi Ming's surroundings and successfully blocked the power of the upper world immortal king artifact's self-destruction. Karma barrier. Qi Ming waved his hand, and the power of karma erupted again. It was vast and spread out a dazzling golden light that enveloped the surroundings, forming a barrier that trapped Emma Wooling. He had completely trapped Emma Wooling with the karma barrier, preventing him from using his escape divine power to escape. It had completely cut off his escape route. Heaven enlightenment. At this moment, Emma Wooling's eyes were red as he roared at the sky. The immortal king's heart was beating violently. All his dharmic powers erupted and contained the power of destruction as they surged towards Qi Ming. You deserve to die. Myriad techniques returned to one. Qi Ming's gaze moved as he berated in a low voice. The invisible divine power fluctuation spread out like invisible and formless ripples. It slowly shook and resolved the power of Emma Wooling's divine power before dissipating into nothingness. The dharmic powers that filled the sky dissipated. You. Emma Wooling's expression was immediately dumbfounded. His face was filled with disbelief as he stood stunned on the spot. He could not imagine that his divine power would actually be resolved like this. You what exactly? Qi Ming's gaze was indifferent, but there was obvious killing intent. You only cultivate dharmic powers, not heaven and earth or laws. From the beginning, you walked down the wrong path. You want to defeat me? You want to kill me? How laughable! Karma sword. Qi Ming's sword slashed down. The golden sword Qi was incomparably dazzling. It swept in all directions and slashed down. In an instant, it defeated Emma Wooling's defense. Phew! Blood splattered across the sky. Emma Wooling screamed. His immortal body was slashed into two by Qi Ming's sword. Despite this, he did not die. After all, he was an upper world immortal king. He already had an undying nature and his consciousness was not destroyed. It was not easy to kill an upper world immortal king, it was in fact extremely difficult. Even if his immortal body was destroyed and only his consciousness was left, there was still a chance of cultivating again. Chapter 340, Obliteration. For example, the origin immortal king's consciousness had a trace of immortality. In the immortal world war that was extremely long ago. This was because that battle was too intense, too terrifying, and too powerful. It tore through the upper world, causing the origin immortal king's immortal body to fall into the void universe sea and ultimately evolve into the mystic world. The origin immortal king's consciousness did not die. Instead, it contained a trace of immortality and was revived again. He wanted to recover his full cultivation and even take another step forward to kill his way back to the first upper world. Speaking of which, the origin immortal king was not in the 9 provinces domain, but the major Chiliocosm domain, one of the 3,000 domains of the first upper world. He was the upper world immortal king of the major Chiliocosm domain. He had established a sect in the major Chiliocosm domain called the Origin Immortal Sect. In addition, the Origin Immortal King's enemies were the other 3 upper world immortal kings. He was surrounded and killed by the 3 upper world immortal kings, so he was not a match in the end and fell into the void universe sea. Qi Ming learned from Origin. The other 3 upper world immortal kings were all from the other 3 powerful sects of the major Chiliocosm domain. One of them was an upper world immortal king of the heavenly human race, another was an upper world immortal king of the immortal temple, and the last was an upper world immortal king of the Heavenly Dao Academy. Speaking of the Heavenly Dao Academy, back then, when Qi Ming was still in the lower realm, he used the space-time treasure, World Gate to travel through the myriad worlds and head to the Cultivation world. He encountered the lower realm's Heavenly Dao Academy in the Cultivation world. There was a huge connection between the two. Cough cough. Emma Wooling coughed up blood. He had been slashed at the waist by Qi Ming. The pain was unbearable, but he was circulating his divine power to heal his injuries. A dazzling light blossomed and enveloped his entire body in a vain attempt to reform his immortal body. Boom! 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 The immortal king's heart beat violently. It was as if it was about to explode. Heaven enlightenment! Emma Wooling roared. Unfortunately, Emma Wooling was no longer Qi Ming's match. In this battle, Qi Ming used all his methods. Apart from not exposing the demon Buddha red dust, he even used the Heavenly Dao treasure, space-time gate secretly. Qi Ming's gaze was cold and filled with killing intent. He did not restrain himself at all and shouted, "You will die today." Heaven and Earth Great Dao, Karma Reincarnation, Dao Slaying Technique. Qi Ming took a deep breath and mobilized all his dharmic powers. The power of the Heaven and Earth Great Dao surged and fused with the Sword of Karma. The power of Karma completely condensed. He used the Dao Slaying Technique. This was the divine power spell technique that Qi Ming had comprehended from the Chaos Great Dao scripture after he broke through to the Immortal Realm and truly stepped into the Great Dao Immortal Realm. It could directly cut off the top 3 flowers of the enemy. It was extremely domineering. First strike. Qi Ming slashed out with his sword. The sword light landed and was dazzling. Space was split by this sword and quickly landed on Emma Wooling, defeating his defense. Sword slash 3 flowers. Qi Ming's sword slashed above Emma Wooling's head. The power of the divine power contained in it acted on the top 3 flowers. Boom! The 3 flowers on the top of Emma Wooling's head were cut off by Qi Ming's sword like bubbles. They instantly dissipated and transformed into light spots that filled the sky. No! Emma Wooling was terrified. This was the first time he had faced such a divine power. He could not resist or resist. He clearly felt the top 3 flowers being cut off. Emma Wooling's dharmic powers were quickly dissipating. His realm was quickly weakening. The 3 flowers above were like the foundation of a skyscraper. Now, Qi Ming used the Dao slaying technique to cut off the top 3 flowers of Emma Wooling, as if he had destroyed the foundation of the skyscraper. This way, the foundation was destroyed. No matter how firm this skyscraper was constructed, it would instantly collapse and be completely destroyed. Emma Wooling's cultivation level was quickly retreating as he faced this situation. Gasp! What divine power is this? Too terrifying! He can actually cut off Emma Wooling's top 3 flowers. How is this possible? Too terrifying, too terrifying! The top 3 flowers were cut off. This is equivalent to directly destroying all cultivation realms. This. The immortals present clearly saw this scene and fell into fear. The divine power spell technique Qi Ming used was too terrifying. This was enough to make all the immortals present tremble. It's not over yet. Qi Ming looked down at Emma Wooling and raised the Karma sword in his hand. Second strike. Sword slaying providence. Qi Ming slashed out another sword. The golden sword light was magnificent and contained supreme power. The original Dao slaying technique could only cut off the top 3 flowers. Now, the Dao slaying technique combined with the supreme Karma technique. Not only could he cut off the top 3 flowers, he could also sever providence. Qi Ming's sword slashed through Emma Wooling's immortal body again, but it did not cause any substantial damage. However, it cut off all the providence on Emma Wooling's body. It dissipated. No. 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 Emma Wooling began to feel true fear. He clearly felt the disappearance of his providence. My providence. My providence. No. At the same time, Emma Wooling's heavenly human 5 declines was about to descend. Emma Wooling immediately mobilized the merit contained in his body. The merit golden light flashed and was extremely dazzling. Behind Emma Wooling, a merit wheel actually appeared. Unfortunately, this was all futile. Qi Ming slashed out his third strike. Third strike! Qi Ming's gaze was cold. Accompanied by a sword cry, his sword had already slashed out. A dazzling golden sword Qi slashed at Emma Wooling like a crescent moon, sword-slaying merit. Crack! Crack! In an instant, the merit light wheel behind Emma Wooling was shattered and scattered into light spots that filled the sky. The merit he had accumulated over countless years was actually destroyed by Qi Ming at this moment. My merit, Emma Wooling's entire body was trembling. At this moment, he truly felt Qi Ming's terror. You who are you? What identity do you have? You. It was too terrifying. Such divine power methods were unheard of. There was actually such a terrifying divine power that could cut off the top 3 flowers. It was even more so the sword that severed providence, merit, and cultivation. To the immortals of the upper world, it meant that the heavenly human 5 declines would instantly descend. Emma Wooling's heavenly human 5 declines was about to descend. First decline, filth. Emma Wooling was originally an upper world immortal king. His clothes were clean and not tainted with any dust. His immortal qi was ethereal, but at this moment, he was filthy and could not be clearly seen. He was like a mortal, covered in dust and covered in dirt. This. Heavenly human 5 declines. It's really the heavenly human 5 declines. Oh goodness! Emma Wooling is an upper world immortal king. Heaven enlightenment actually forcefully cut off the top 3 flowers. The sword slashes providence and merit, causing the heavenly human 5 declines to descend. Gasp! This is the heavenly human 5 declines. It's something that makes all immortals pale. In the surroundings, around the battlefield, all the immortals and living beings were trembling. They truly felt fear. The fear of the immortals of the upper world towards the heavenly human 5 declines was like the fear of mortals towards death. No! Emma Wooling roared miserably. He was unwilling to accept this and was incomparably unresigned. However, with the descent of the heavenly human 5 declines and the 3 flowers being cut off, his cultivation quickly retreated. He was already almost powerless to resist. In the blink of an eye. Second decline, white hair. Emma Wooling was originally an upper world immortal king, so he was naturally full of vitality. He was bright and beautiful, and light enveloped his entire body. However, at this moment, his hair began to wither and grow white hair. The light dissipated and his head turned white in an instant. Emma Wooling spat out blood. Third decline, mental weakness. Emma Wooling began to be afraid and tremble. In the depths of his heart, mental demons grew. He began to feel disgusted, uneasy, and various thoughts appeared. Fourth decline, body rot. Death energy began to envelop Emma Wooling's entire body. Filthy qi surrounded his body, and his vitality withered. His entire body was filthy, and his immortal body began to wither like a tree that had lost its vitality. Most importantly, Emma Wooling was an upper world immortal king, and the heavenly human 5 declines of an upper world immortal king caused an extremely huge commotion. It was the most obvious when the 4th decline descended. The death qi and filthy qi that dissipated began to contaminate the surrounding environment. Emma Wooling knew that he would definitely die. His head of white hair and body were withered. At this moment, he had already fallen to the Mahayana realm and was at his last breath, heaven enlightenment. The 9 provinces Immortal Dynasty will definitely not let you off. They definitely won't let you off. I'm only a mere 5-clawed golden dragon envoy. Above me, there are also 7-clawed true dragons envoys, 9-clawed ancestral dragons envoys, and stronger existences. You won't survive. You won't survive. Ha ha ha! Emma Wooling's gaze was cold as he roared at the sky, I'll wait for you. Amid Emma Wooling's laughter, his immortal body gradually turned to ashes from beneath his feet. With a breeze, it turned to dust and dissipated in the world. Be it physical body, essence, soul, true spirit, and consciousness, they were all reduced to ashes. This was the fifth decline, obliteration. At this moment, Emma Wooling died completely. Then let them come. Qi Ming said indifferently, I'll kill whoever comes. I'll slaughter them all until your 9 provinces immortal dynasty feels fear. Qi Ming waved his right hand. Emma Wooling's storage immortal ring landed in Qi Ming's hand. There were a large number of immortal crystals, immortal pills, many materials, and the cultivation technique Qi Ming wanted. He put the storage immortal ring into his inventory and raised his head to look at the 9 apprentice dragon envoys. When the 9 apprentice dragon envoys saw that Emma Wooling had died and was completely dead, they were terrified. They could not care less and wanted to escape. However, it was too late.